Hi there. Welcome to Friday Sews on a Saturday. Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for the confirmation. I appreciate that. I hope your weekend's going well and you're getting some sewing time in. I don't have too many sewing updates this time, per usual. I do have a little bit of update on my blue flowery dress. So I'll maybe give it another minute or two and see if anybody else jumps on. I'm totally not sure what to expect. Are you doing anything fun this weekend? I'm still in coffee mode here. Oh, that's awesome. It's so good to finish something, isn't it? I was telling my husband last night that just getting this dress done feels so good. I still do have to do the hem, but that's like so easy peasy. For whatever reasons, it's been kind of a slog, and I'm ready for my next project, which will not drag on like this one, I promise. I'll have to look up that pattern and see what that looks like, that Simplicity 37.99. Hi, Marty. How's your weekend going? Oh, that's great, Michelle. I haven't been to Kings Island since last year. We went one time last year. Oh, good to see you too, Marty. So, the company that my husband works for, they do their annual company picnic at Kings Island some years. So, we try to go to that, and that's probably about the only time that we ever go these days, although it's always a good time. Oh, that's funny, Michelle. I've got a wedding to go to this weekend, and I was kind of thinking if I get this dress done, I might wear it, but I'm not sure if I'll get it done. I am really, like, digging my heels in with this dress. I don't know. It's one of those kind of projects. Oh, Marty, that sounds fun. I love that latest jacket that you're making, and that one's on a commission, right? That's so exciting. Michelle, what does your top look like? I don't know if you've posted it on Instagram yet. It seems like I'm rarely on Instagram these days, so I miss out on a lot. And I'll have to do better with that. Yes, Marty, some projects just take longer, even if they're not terribly difficult. They just take longer. But I tried it on yesterday now that I've got the neck binding in and the armhole bindings, and I really like it, even though, like, all the headache that it's been for me, it fits really well and it's fun to wear. So I think I'm going to enjoy wearing it. So that's kind of the silver lining on this project. Oh, that sounds exciting, Marty. Do you do a lot of embroidery? Yeah, I can't wait to see that. And I wish we had a hacker space here. I think that our local library has like a very small maker space. We went in there one time. I go to the library with some regularity just to check out books. And I went into the little maker space. It's just kind of like an oversized closet, kind of, maybe a little bigger than that. I think they had a sewing machine, they had a 3D printer, and they had a few other things in there, but it looked really cool. But it looked like it was kind of like in early stages. Maybe they wanted to see how many people were going to get to use it before they invested a lot in it. It's kind of the feeling that I got. Oh, I've heard that. Oh, thanks, Marty. I have heard that from some people that I know that have gotten like the fancy embroidery machines that it becomes very addictive. And I've seen like some really nice embroidery on jean jackets. a woman I used to work with, she embroidered, she had like a denim jean jacket, and she embroidered the Wonder Woman logo on the back, and she showed me pictures. It was so cool. And actually, so her mom is an avid quilter and she's into knitting. But when they got the embroidery machine, her dad got into it and he's kind of like taken over the whole embroidery of the family. Like he became totally addicted to using the embroidery machine, which is kind of cool and kind of funny and cute. Yes, yes, it is a cool we have, so I'm located just outside of Cincinnati in Ohio. So Cincy is a pretty big city, so the library system is really good. No matter this is my 3rd, place I've lived since I've been in the Cincinnati area, the 3rd, like, house or whatever, and no matter which library I've gone to, it was good. Like, the library system here is really good. And then more recently, I have started getting audiobooks from the library. So I've had an Audible subscription for years. And in order to kind of cut costs a little bit, I kind of put that on pause just because I didn't want to pay for that credit every month when I already have so many books that I still need to listen to. But then for some reason, I just wasn't aware that you could get audiobooks from your library. So I've been doing that, and that's working out really well. I'm enjoying that. The only thing is that if I forget to, like, if the loan period is coming due and I forget to renew it, then they take my book away, my audiobook, and I might not be finished listening to it. So sometimes you can check it right back out. But if there was somebody waiting for it and it was on hold, then you're just kind of like out of luck and you have to put your own name in like the bucket again to place that audiobook on hold. But overall, and that was on me because I didn't renew it before my time ran out. So overall, that's been a good experience. Oh, that's cool. So, when you say about men using it, do you mean like the embroidery part or just the hacker space in general? That's pretty cool. What other things do they have in there? I would guess maybe a 3D printer that's so big now. My husband is really like seriously into 3D printing, and it's pretty awesome the things that he's made. At first, it started out as kind of making like cute little things, little like knickknacks or whatever, or just cool little like fun type of things. But since then, and as he's learned how to do more of the designing, he's made like so many like functional things for our house or if like we have one of those old fashioned egg beaters, the kind that you hold and you turn like the little wheel and then the beaters spin around. And the little plastic piece on the handle that you hold broke and we would never be able to find that part in a store to replace it. So he just designed one and 3D printed it. I mean, how cool is that? It's turned out to be like a pretty amazing hobby. Hi, Carol. Bonjour. I hope you have a nice time. That's so cool that you're in France. Oh, thank you, Carol. I appreciate that and hope you have a great weekend. And so it looks like they're using it for embroidering t-shirts and hats. Yeah, I guess that makes pretty good sense. I wonder if it would be difficult to embroider a hat, like trying to maneuver because it's not a flat piece of fabric, trying to maneuver the hat under the embroidery machine. I'm not sure how that would work. Okay, screen printing. That's something that I have like zero familiarity with. And I think that would be fun. I think just the thought of you could like have your t-shirt or whatever, screen print whatever you want on it, then I guess maybe they come up with a design and put it on a thumb drive or something. I wonder how automated that is. It sounds pretty cool. Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it might be. I guess you're referring to the hats being difficult to kind of maneuver under the machine. I guess if you could kind of like squash them down and like run it through the machine, but then you have to worry about it like buckling or wrinkling or whatever. Okay. Oh, wow. So is the hat frame like a separate device that attaches to the embroidery machine? Hmm. Oh, yeah, and I'm just seeing your comment about it has a metal shop, a wood shop, ceramics. That sounds pretty amazing. Is it in a warehouse? Like, it sounds like it would have to be like a pretty large space to accommodate everything. That sounds really cool. Okay, separate piece. And are there instructors in your hacker space, or do they rely on you just to know what to do when you get in there? Or they might have some concerns about whether you know how to use their equipment so that you don't damage it, I guess. Oh, that sounds so awesome, Marty. I'm going to Google that here in the Cincinnati area and see if we have anything like that. I mean, that sounds really, really fun. And maybe a chance to kind of like dip your toes into a new hobby before you like invest a lot of time and money, then just to find out you don't really like it that much after all. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys let me see. Okay, so Marty's saying that the members do classes and people have to take safety classes. Oh, that's awesome. That sounds, I mean, very reasonable. Yeah. Oh, that sounds so cool. I'm going to take a note because I want to remember to look this up. And if I don't write things down these days, it's just gone. It's so terrible. Yeah. So if you just joined in and you missed me talking about my dress here, it's pretty much done, except the hem. That'll be easy. And I had a little bit of trouble with the neckline. It's that that dreaded, like that gaping over that we experience with necklines. And I had already put the bias binding on, and then it did that like after I put the binding on and tried it on. So I had to take the binding off. And what I ended up doing was to just do some very, very slight gathering around the neckline and stay stitch that in place and then put the binding back on. So it's much better now. It does lay pretty flat. And hi, Rose. Awesome. A baby lock serger. Yes, thank you. Okay. I was going to take notes, but I'll be able to look at these comments after the fact because I don't want to forget these recommendations. Okay, the entry level vibrant serger. And that's probably what I would be looking for too, is just something entry level. Carol, that's funny. Oh, why does that do that to us? It drives us crazy. Oh, thanks, Marty. Yeah, I was hoping that it would look good without looking too puckered. And overall, it looks pretty good. You have to be like looking at it really closely to see like the tiny little gathers, and so it shouldn't be an issue. I was just happy that I was able to fix that because after everything with this dress, and then at the end of the road, come to find out I couldn't even be able to wear it because it was like hugely gaping open. That would have just been like the last straw. So I'm really, really glad that that worked. Oh, phew. Okay, Rose, that's pretty reasonable. That seems very reasonable. Okay, so I've heard a lot of good things about air threading, and people that have air threading sergers, they say wholeheartedly to go with an air threading machine. But I think that really adds greatly to the cost, doesn't it? I guess it just depends on like what your budget is. But if it's pretty easy to thread, that may not be a deal breaker just to get a manually threaded machine. Michelle, that's probably the smarter thing to do. And The funny thing is that when I was kind of like dry fitting this before getting too much into locking it all in, it seemed like it laid pretty flat, and then just putting that binding on just did something to it. I don't know if like the fabric got stretched out when I was working with the neckline there, but it went downhill once I put the binding on. Yeah, I've heard that people can do it both of those ways with the tightening up the neckline, either adding some darts or pleats even, or adjusting the pattern. So if this hadn't worked, like gathering that neckline up slightly, my next thing that I was going to try would be to make a couple of very small pleats. Of course, that would be very noticeable. I think it would have to be done carefully to look like it's a design feature and not like I messed up, so now I'm trying to fix it. And if any of the rest of you guys have any serger recommendations, I'll be happy to take those suggestions as well. So Michelle is saying if she's already made it up but doesn't care for the look of neck darts. Okay, so trying to start with the pattern. And I feel like that probably would be the best way if possible, just adjusting the pattern right from the get-go. That would be the goal, I would think. And oftentimes I'll make a muslin, and that's where I can see what kind of issues might crop up like that. I didn't do that with this dress just because the way it was constructed around the waistline with the princess seams, and it was kind of funky there. So I just wanted to go for it, which should have meant that's even more reason to do a muslin. But lazy me like said, I don't want to have to do this twice. I'm just gonna jump right in. uh, oh, Michelle, that's awesome. You've been using your serger for 13 years. That's great. And I think I would be tempted for me at least starting out just to go for something more of a basic model. Like I don't need anything fancy because frankly, any serger is going to be better than what I'm doing now, which is having to overlock this. Like if I'm not lining the garment, which I mean, most garments that I make aren't lined because they're just casual garments. So I'm ending up having to stitch the seam and then overlock all the raw edges, unless it's a knit fabric or something like that. But either way, it doesn't like look that pretty inside. And this dress here, don't look under the hood. That's one of those, it looks nice on the outside, but don't look under the hood. It's kind of like I have these labels that I got from a maker on Etsy that have my name on them that I usually will sew into any makes that I do. I don't even want to put like a label in this dress because if it ends up later when I'm tired of it at the Goodwill or something, I don't want anyone to know I made it just because it's so messy on the inside. And even I had been thinking about getting a serger for a little while now. I'm pretty sure that this garment here has kind of been the tipping point and pushed me over the fence on that one. Oh, that's funny, Marty. Yeah, let's create the problems for ourselves and then put our brains to work trying to fix the problems. Oh, amen. I do that more times than I'd like to admit, and not just with sewing, like with gardening. It's kind of, I feel like what it is, at least for me, you get into the momentum of I'm working on this thing. I don't want to detour and take the longer way around and do it like the right way. I just want to keep going and get it done, even though that might end up creating a problem later. Oh, that's a good idea, Michelle, to serge the cut ends of fabric before pre-washing. Yes. Yeah. And so then when you do that, well, I guess that I was going to say then you don't have to serge like I'm not really sure how sergers exactly work, But you would I guess you're just talking about the yardage that you, serge the raw like the top and the bottom cut edge. That's a good idea. I have occasionally on a really ravelly fabric, just like zigzag the edges before washing, but not too many times. Maybe just once or twice I remember doing that. Oh, you're so dependent, Marty. I would be too. Like if I was using a tool that made my sewing so much easier and look better and then have to be without it. It's kind of like for me, if you think about your first little house and it might have like a tiny little kitchen, and then you later on you can get maybe a nicer house and it has a bigger kitchen and more counter space and you love it and you couldn't like stand the thought of downgrading. Like at our first house that we had together as a married couple, we had maybe 4 feet of counter space. Like that's it in the whole kitchen. It was tiny. And now we have a lot more than that. And I can't even imagine like having to downgrade and go back to that. So maybe it's kind of like that with your serger. You have like something so nice and makes your sewing so nice. You couldn't stand to be without it. So is there a huge learning curve with a serger? Like, is it something that you need to take classes for or just watch a YouTube video for your particular model? And even though I love to learn and always taking some sort of class, whether it's quilting class or gardening or whatever, I've got like this like mental block about learning a serger, and I'm not sure why that is. It can't really be that difficult, can it? I'm not sure. I'll get over that though, because after this, I'm set on saving up my money to get a serger. Thanks, Rose. I will check that out. I'm going to have a lot of good notes to take when I go back and watch the chat replay. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. I've seen Anita by Design's channel. I like her a lot. Of course, I probably skipped right over her serger videos, not having a serger. Oh, thanks, Marty. That's good to know. Okay, so Marty, you're saying that definitely, if you can, to get an air threader machine. I'll have to look at, the do like cost comparison. And I guess ideally, I probably would prefer an air threader. Although something about the manual threading process might mean that you get a chance to learn your machine a little bit more, maybe. Okay, that's good to know, Rose. Yeah, I would guess whichever brand I went with, if I got it from like an actual sewing shop and not like Walmart or something, they probably would have classes. Oh, thanks, Michelle. I appreciate that encouragement. So, what kind of things did you do at your job, Michelle? That sounds interesting, just to be able to use industrial sewing equipment. Sounds kind of exciting. When I bought my machine last year, my new sewing machine, it was the first machine I'd bought in 25 years, and it's a Janome. And I got it from a sewing shop that they carry both Viking, Janome, oh, and also Elna, and they do have some of the Brother embroidery machines and maybe Serger. So I might probably just go back up to that shop and take a look and see what they have. But they offer classes. They have a few locations around our area, so I think like at their bigger locations, they do classes there. Ah, Marty, that makes sense. The more you if you're doing it regularly, you'll remember it, and that's so true. I have, a larger machine that just does straight stitching, and it's meant for quilting. Like, that's why I got it. It's just meant for quilting, and I use it very infrequently, so every time I pull it out to use it, it's almost like having to relearn the process again. Oh, wow, that's interesting, Michelle. That's very specific. Yeah. Did you enjoy it? How long did you do that? Or did it get to be kind of just too routine and monotonous after a while? I mean, it sounds really interesting and exciting to, like, me who's never done anything like that. But I guess like all of us with our jobs, you do it for so many years and it's like, another day at the office or the plant. I've worked with vinyl a few times. I've made a grill cover for our outdoor grill, and I got marine grade vinyl. I just got it at Joann's, and that thing has held up. I have to say, I think getting the marine grade made like all the difference in the world. We've used that on like that thing is lasting longer than our grills last, if that says anything. And it's just due to like the quality of that fabric. And I think like a lot of people might get it to if they have a boat or something to do like the seating, like that padded seating on their boats. But it works great for a grill cover. It looks still looks great even through like weather, storms, year after year after year. And I think that's the only time I've ever sewn with vinyl, yeah, that I recall. There might have been other times, but by far, that's like the most one that stands out just because we're still using it. And we had to get a new grill this summer, and it was a little bit bigger than our old grill. So I was hoping that that cover would fit because it's still in such great shape, and I don't want to make another one because kind of finagling that heavy marine grade vinyl under my machine was kind of a little bit difficult, but it all worked out. And that was with my old machine that had like the harp area or the throat area was small. There wasn't a lot of space in there. So kind of stuffing that vinyl through that little space was a little challenging at times. My new machine sits right over there, has like a much bigger space there, which I love. That's one of the things that made me choose that machine, just to have all that space, especially for quilting, more so than garment sewing. Oh, that does make sense, Michelle. Yeah, that does make sense. Oh, so that's been quite a while. Yeah, it still sounds pretty interesting though, especially just to use like the new machinery at my new job that I started in March, I get to use our postage machine. And so to me, that's really fun. Like just having the letters that we send out to all of our members that join our facility. And the letters just like feed right through one after the other. And the machine like sticks, like prints the postage on there on the envelope. And it also seals the flap of the envelope. And that's not like the best thing about my job, but for me, when I was learning how to use that machine, it was like the most fun thing I did all day. Yes. Any other Serger recommendations? I appreciate all the tips and information you guys have given me, and I'm definitely going to go back through the chat replay and take notes and look those up, and also visit my dealer where I got my Janome and see what they have to offer. I do need to get my machine in for servicing this year pretty soon because it's been about a year and a half. And then recently, when I mentioned that on a recent video, one of the viewers said, because I kept I'll get back to that, but I kept my old machine, but that one also needs servicing. So that viewer was really smart and said, why don't I have the old machine serviced first? And then when the new machine is in the shop, I still have a sewing machine to use. So I think I'm going to do that. When I was looking into having my new machine serviced around December, because it had been about a year since I bought it, the lead time on that was like 5 or 6 weeks. And I'm not sure, that seems extraordinarily long. And I think it's due to a couple of different factors like the supply chain issues or like workforce issues. And then also everybody's sewing more now. So they have like a bigger backlog. but I just can't imagine being without my machine for 5 or 6 weeks. So I think I'm gonna follow that tip, get my old one serviced first, and I'll still have something to use. So we've been chatting for about 30 minutes now, so maybe I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks you guys so much for joining in. I appreciate it. It was fun to chat with you guys in like real time, so to speak. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe we will do this again. Maybe not every week, but some weeks. We'll have to see and play it by ear. And I do appreciate all the good suggestions. So thanks you guys again, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Bye, Rose. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.